Hello everyone, I'm Sarah and welcome back to my crochet channel. Today's video is part 2 or step 2 in our American flag bunting or 4th of July bunting or any patriotic holiday. And the truth is, if you don't want to make this patriotic, you can make it in whatever colors that you want to. On step 1 or part 1, we did the 3 red and white striped pennants or triangles. Today for step 2, we're going to crochet up the blue and white triangles, and again we need 3 of those. The total bunting has 3 red and white striped ones and 3 blue and white, and then trimmed in the gold. So we've already completed step 1, the red and white striped pennants or triangles. And step 2 today, like I said, we're going to do the blue and white pennants or triangles. Then step 3, we're going to make the gold tie that hooks them all together. And then I'm also going to show you how to make a gold star that you could add in between if you want to. And that's for Friday Fun Day. And so then on Friday, everything will be completed and you can decorate just in time for 4th of July if you want to. Now you can find this complete crochet pattern on my blog. And again, I'll put that blog link down in the notes underneath this video. Just be sure to refresh that page after each step so that you get the new pictures and new notes that are included on that blog. Let's talk about supplies again, just in case you haven't watched the first video. And again, you can find that first video for the red and white striped pennants. You can find that link right up there. And then I'll also put that link down in the notes under the video. To make your American flag bunting, you're going to need 4 different colors: red, white, blue, and gold. And you're going to need about 2 ounces of a bulky number 5 yarn. These are all Charisma from Michaels, and I like the Charisma yarn. It's very soft, and even though it's a bulky number 5, it's not heavy. It's a light bulky number 5, if that makes sense. It's not a heavy yarn, even though it's a thicker yarn. We're going to be stitching with our K-hook, which is a 6.5 millimeter crochet hook. You need a big needle that has a big eye just for weaving in your ends. And then of course you're going to need your scissors. For today, we're only going to be using the blue and white to make our 3 blue and white triangles for our bunting. I have both my blue and white yarn out. I'm going to begin with the blue, but we'll be switching in the white in order to make those little spots of white that represent the white stars on a field of blue. All right, so I'm going to move my white yarn up there, and we're going to begin with our blue. We're going to make our slip knot. We're going to chain 4. We're going to place 2 double crochets in the 4th chain from the hook. 1, 2, 3, 4. So yarn over, go in, pull up a loop, yarn over, go through the first 2, yarn over, and go through the second 2. Now we're going to place a second double crochet in that same chain. So for row 1, we have 3 double crochets because our chain 3 counted as our first double crochet. Now we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3, and turn our work. I hook in there. All right, now we're going to bring in our white yarn. I'm going to bring in my white yarn. I'm going to leave the blue yarn attached, but we are going to stitch over it, okay? So I'm going to stitch a double crochet in the first double crochet, stitching over that tail of blue yarn. I'm not going to finish that double crochet. I'm going to bring my blue yarn back in. All right, now I'm going to double crochet in the next stitch, and I'm stitching over my white yarn, and I'm not going to finish that stitch. I'm going to bring my white back in. Now I'm going to double crochet in that last stitch with the white yarn. And again, I'm not going to finish that double crochet. I'm only going to yarn over and go through the first 2 loops. Then we'll bring back in the blue to finish that stitch, and then double crochet again in that last stitch. Now, the reason that we do it that way is so that we get a complete stitch. We finish off the previous one with the new color, and this gives us a nice looking stitch that's complete. And so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stitches. We have 3 blue and 2 white double crochets. So now for row 3, we're going to chain 3. We're going to turn our work, and on this row we're going to just stitch all blue double crochets, but we're going to stitch over that white tail of yarn so that it ends up back over here. All right, so we're going to double crochet in that first double crochet. We're going to double crochet in each of the stitches across. This brings us to our last stitch, and so we're going to stitch 2 double crochets in this last stitch. There we go. 1 and 2. And we'll go ahead and chain 3 and turn our work. So now we had 3, then we went to 5, so now we have 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 double crochets with 2 spots that look similar to a star in a field of blue. Now you can pull on this just a little bit to make sure everything's tightened up and snugged up, but don't pull on it too tightly. Just make sure it isn't drooping when we go to begin working on the next row. All right, let's do row 4. We're going to turn our work. We're going to double crochet with the blue in that first stitch, but we're not going to finish it. We're going to bring up our white and finish that double crochet. Now we're going to stitch our double crochet with our white in the next stitch, stitching over that blue tail of yarn. And again, we're not going to complete the stitch. We're going to complete it with the blue. And then we'll stitch the next double crochet with the blue, not completing the stitch, but completing it with the white. And again, by doing it this way, when we're changing colors, it gives us a much more neater appearance. All right, so there's my third white spot. I'm going to bring my blue in, and then we'll stitch 2 double crochets in that last stitch with the blue. 1 and 2. And then we'll just chain 1. All right, let's go ahead and cut off our white because we're finished with our white yarn. There we go. So we have 2 spots of white down here and 3 up here. Now this is the back. You'll notice there's a line there. So when you turn it to the front, you can pull these to the back side, and we'll weave those in to the back. So we'll pull that one to the back, and this white one, just use your hook and pull it to the back, and now you have a much neater appearance. And of course, it's up to you which side you want to use as your front or your back. It doesn't really matter. Okay, and so that's the way that row 4 looks. We chained 1, we want to chain 2 more, so we have a chain 3 there. And now we're just going to do a row of blue. So we're going to do a double crochet in the same stitch or in the first stitch because our chain 3 counts as our first, and then 1 double crochet in each of the double crochets working across. And then 2 double crochets in the last stitch. 1 and 2. And then chain 1. So on row 1 we had 3, row 2 we had 5, row 3 we have 7, row 4 we have 9 double crochets, and then on this row we have 11 double crochets. And now for the last row on our pennant or triangle, we've chained 1, we're going to turn 2 single crochets in the first stitch. The chain 1 does not count as a stitch, so we stitch 2 single crochets. Then we'll stitch 1 single crochet in each of the double crochets across. And then when we get to the last single crochet, or the last double crochet, we're going to stitch 2 single crochets in that last stitch. And then we'll tie off. So I'll cut my yarn and tie off. Now again, it's up to you which side you want to be the front of your banner. It doesn't matter. It's up to you. We're going to take our needle and weave in these ends. We have 2 blue ends and 2 white ends that will need to be weaved in. And so we'll do our best to go through some stitches and some fibers. And again, this is a bulky 5, and sometimes working with a bulky 5, it's difficult to get those ends weaved in nicely. But you want to do the best that you can so you have the neatest appearance. All right. So I'm going to tidy it up. And remember, you need to make 3 of these triangles or pennants that are blue with the white spots for the stars. So make 3. Here are my 3 triangles or pennants that I made to represent the field of blue with some white stars. Now, just a reminder, if you don't want to use the bulky 5 yarn, you can use a medium number 4. You'll need to go down a hook size, and your triangles will come out smaller, so you may want to add some more rows in order to make it bigger. All right, I get questions all the time about can you use a medium 4 or different sized yarns. You can. Just remember they're not going to be the same size, and you need to use the recommended crochet hook for that yarn that you're going to use. So this is the completion of number 2 of our crochet along, and then here are my red and white striped ones for step number 1. So I have both sets finished, and now I'm ready to complete my bunting. And on step number 3, like I said, we're going to add the trim on the top, or the tie that connects them together. And then I'm also going to show you how to make a really cute golden star that you can add if you want to. All right, so we've completed step 2, and I'll see you for step number 3.